G'day Hawks fans from around the world. Welcome to Talking Hawks. I'm Matt. You're with Daz tonight, and we're up and about. Daz, how are you travelling, mate?
Mate, I think you summed it up beautifully with up and about. I've walked in, and of the three lights that are in the light fitting at the moment, two of them have actually gone out, so I'm stuck with one. So if I'm a bit dark at the moment, I apologise, Hawks fans, although with the state of my head, that might be a blessing in disguise. But what a win, mate. What an absolutely fantastic win. This young side continues to impress us, I think. And I think when we are starting to achieve success in the years to come, it'll be a win like this that we look back on and say that it was a springboard. So I am plentifully excited, and there's plenty to talk about, so I can't wait to get stuck into it. How are you, mate?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, going very well. It's always nice to start the week. I just had the Hawks hat on this morning. I was off work doing a few little things and pumped into a bloke in Mitre 10 and he's, oh, Hawks, and he comes over, he has a good chat with me. And it's a nice way to start the week. But fans, let us know where you're joining us from tonight. If you're joining us for the first time, Talking Hawks is all about connecting Hawks fans from around the world, having some intelligent footy conversations and some laughs. Check out talkinghawks.com if you have not seen some of our content with former and current player interviews and some great articles from Daz and others. So I'm just going to do the rounds. Brooke, welcome. Fred is in the house as always. Here we go. There's some good vibes.
Absolutely.
Adrian, that's the way. It's a really interesting. What are we? How many? We're was that our third win?
Fourth, 4 and 6.
Sorry, 4 and 6. I did jot it down before. It's just not looking at my notes. Yeah, fascinating when we're winning with the teams that are a bit stronger. And yeah, here we go. So, look, solid game. We'll touch on the VFLW tonight, but with no VFL men's, we will tuck right into this in the Sir Douglas round. It was an absolute cracker. We even have a little bit of some Indigenous.
Oh boy, look at that
sign from last year. We've got Silk. We can never forget Silk, Chad, Jarman, Rocky, and who was it? Matty Walker. Sign. So in Silks last year, we might put that one up for grabs. If that's something you're interested in, let us know. Working out the best way to might get it all decked out.
I think Harrison Pepper's on that footy. I was trying to figure out Matty Walker, but he was 2020, so I think it's Pepper instead of Walker. Yeah, no, I confused you before we started, Matty, so that's 100% on me. But first thing that we need...
That's 100% Pepper.
Yeah, that's Harry Pepper there. So that's on Daz there, not Matty. Mate, can we talk the first positive before the ball was even bounced?
Yes.
Our Indigenous jumper was unbelievable. Now, all of them were great for their own reasons, but yes, this is going to be a very biased take. Upper echelon, that Hawthorn Indigenous jumper. I tried to load up the designer's name, all the people that were involved in the project, and then we jumped on, kind of ran out of time, probably poor time management on my part, but we'll try and get it up before the end of the show, or if you know, please comment it below. But that was 11 out of 10, was so good, and I can't wait to buy one. It's absolutely going in the collection.
Yeah, I loved, I don't know if you caught it, the story with, it was Will Day and Dylan Moore went and spent some time at an Indigenous school. I don't recall where it was, but that just a couple of weeks back, and took the boots to get them ready. And I think there was a lot of young ladies that helped with painting the boots. And yeah, it was nice to see the boys, on their socials and whatnot, getting it out there. Absolutely. There was there was some really good looking shoes. I reckon Adidas and others should have a good look at some of those designs. They were really popping to go with the jumper as well. So I think they did a nice tribute. And look, Chad. Well, let's just jump in. Chad was our first goal kicker. Didn't he love that? He
did. I've written about it in the player review, and that'll come tomorrow morning. Just life's a bit hectic at the moment, Hawks fans, but I promise you it's coming first thing tomorrow morning. But I'll half spoil the Chad analysis here. He's becoming our quality, not quantity type of player. he had 11 disposals on the weekend, which if you just read that stat, you might think, oh, he's been quiet again. But the 3 goals, 6 or 7 score involvements, he was in everything that turned the tide, and every time we needed to wrestle back momentum, he was involved in the scoring chain. I thought, I love the fact he started with him. I thought he was outstanding, even if the stats don't necessarily tell the story, but it's Hawks fans. We're used to that. Just look at Cyril and Poppy during the premiership years. Their stats meant nothing, but their impact was great. So hats off to Chad, who's had some inconsistent moments this year, but I think his last fortnight has been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. Look, it's I can just enjoy the celebration of the round. Like Charlie Cameron got up. He was very well held and still bobbed up for 3, which is painful for the Hawks, but to celebrate and look, he got a bit excited on one of the motorbikes.
On the motorbikes, yeah. Yeah, they're dangerous, those motorbike accidents. Drive safely, everyone.
Yeah. But
we really hope fans are laughing too right now. If not, we're just laughing at each other, and that gets sad. So Hawks fans, please.
No, it's absolute talent, and I get very genuinely excited by seeing the Indigenous boys and the pride and the way when they get up and about in these games. It's very exciting. I'm going to let the fans dictate a little bit here, Daz. I've got a few thoughts on Frosty here. I'm going to let you go, but give us your thoughts on Frosty initially. I just want to do a little bit of a tribute of my own. But
I didn't mind it. Honestly, didn't. I'm all for freshening players up, and we'll talk more about other players that have needed that and got that this week. Maybe we'll see. But up forward, we were never going to drop him. Structurally is too important. But for a quarter and a bit, let him go forward. That was a great pack mark. First goal since 2017, and I think he did it against North, and he was a demon at that point. So we could tell that Frosty was a bit out of form, out of touch. He was giving away a lot of free kicks and maybe was a bit frustrated, and he was allowed to loosen up, and didn't the teammates and the fans get around him as well. It was a really vocal crowd in Tassie, so shout out to all those who were there because you did a fantastic job. I loved it for a bit. He went down back and he blanketed Eric Hipwood, which you could say might have been a relatively easier job given the knee problems, but I'm a fan of if you cross the white line, you're right to go. So I give a big tick to Frosty. I'm not sure if the forward will last. I don't think so, purely because we don't have enough cover for him down back. We're not going to get a forward line as small as Brisbane for the rest of the year, but for a quarter and a bit to get his confidence back, loved it. You?
Yeah, look, I think it's a very smart coaching move. And I'll tell you why. You could have thrown Callow in, let's say, to play and mix it up. Okay, you're still covering a bit in the ruck. You could have looked Sarong, maybe not quite there yet, but you could have given the youth another chance. And what I love is they probably stood back and said, we've got the strength aerially with Scrimshaw, Sicily, DGB. Yes, Frosty's great.
Scrim didn't play. Like, how well did that work out?
But
yeah,
CJ,
exactly.
You've got the aerial capabilities covered down back. Let's try some things. So the let's refresh or try it. I think putting Frosty, you could have put Sis or DGB, and Sis had a great game down there, by the way, but defensively puts on great pressure. So Frosty is also strong. So it becomes a mismatch issue. It's not just the Gunston third best defender. Who do you put on Frost if you're sitting in the Lions box? So I think, and then he's attacked it. Maybe a little bit unpredictable in his leading patterns and whatnot, but also smart because he would have defended against the Hawthorn attack that many times, maybe against Gunston, probably understands it quite well. So if you put a young guy in, maybe wouldn't have followed the game plan as well. So I think it was a genius move from the coaches, and well done, Frosty. Great to see him get up and get a goal.
Yeah, I think if Marcus Adams plays for Brisbane, I don't think Frosty would have been put down there, but I think because we both had essentially centre-half back out, I know Hartigan was the sub. I think it was a pretty low risk, pretty high potential for reward, and that mark and that goal was worth it because he, I know it's a footy cliche, but he ran on top of the ground after that. So a huge tick to Sam, and it feels weird to praise the media a bit here, but I'm going to do it. Lee Montagna, Joey, the only sort of media person that's believed in the Hawks since Clarko left, did make a good comment that if Clarko had been the coach and that performance comes against the top two side, we'd be marveling at his genius, rightly so. And I know Sam doesn't have the correct credits in the bank, but I think we can sit here and comfortably say that there were times during the game where Sam Mitchell was the better coach, and that is against someone that's made 2 preliminary finals. So it's a tick to 2 Sams there in Frost and Mitchell for their performances across the day.
Yep. And before we move on from Frosty, just that play from Sicily fullback, Duke Mark. We'll come back to Duke, everybody. Quick handball. Frosty, have a run, son. That's what you're made for. And then a really well-weighted kick at pace and nice little subtle shepherd for, I think it was Lewis and Chad Wingart. It's like that's a 12 second end to end, brilliant to watch. So Frosty, to see him as part of that was very exciting. DJB, let's roll with this a bit. All right, my thoughts. I think he featured well in the air. He probably didn't give away as many as he has maybe in some weeks. I think he did. He played some smarter. Always watching where he plays on the shoulder behind. I can't say I tracked all of his opponents through the game, but look, I think it was just another stepping stone game for DGB, but it was important that he could play that role, especially if you're trying to free up Frosty. So good that he could hold his own there, and that's what he got.
Look what happens when he plays on Rewalt the entire game. Rewalt got him. He learnt from it, and he went with it. And Fullerton, and this is no disrespect to Tom Fullerton, but we're not putting him in the same conversation as Jack Rewalt. And we knew Denver was going to take a lot out of it. I know there was a little bit of fan frustration, which I can understand on the day, but in the long term, it's only going to see him better. So Denver would look at a Jack Rewalt and go, I've got plenty to work on, but he needs to be standing next to a Tom Fullerton and going, mate, I've got you covered. And he did have him covered. Fullerton's goal was a good pack mark by Fullerton, but you're going to give one of those away a game as a defender. So I don't think Denver will be too much worried about that. But yeah, by round 1 next year, the improvement in Denver is going to be immense. And it was another step in the right direction on Sunday. So hats off to him.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to do the rounds because the fans' comments are going nuts.
I love it.
Just quick comments, Daz, or jump in.
The tag's back. The new term is cooling, but let's get okay. I've been a little bit of a critic of Liam Shields. I'll happily put my hand up for that as an offensive weapon. But yeah, Lachie Neale had 15 disposals at the 9th minute mark of the second quarter. He had 10 for the rest of the game and 1 score involvement. But I'm serious, Matty, now it's up to you because we're going to end the show with your top 5. If Liam Shields isn't in there, I'm going to somehow reach through this computer screen and just shake you a little bit. Because, yes, I understand there are offensive players that were awesome, and we're going to talk about them. But this was a midfield that had Lachie Neale, Jared Lyons, Hugh McCluggage, who did get hurt, but he's still there, Zach Bailey, Cam Rayner, and all these guys that could roll through there. We looked at their best one and said, you're the one that's going to win the game for the Lions, and we shut him down. Tick, Liam Shields, absolutely.
Yep. It was
that's a weird stat to keep count of, Sam. I appreciate that.
Sam, it was some great attack, and look, that helped us all round. We're calling out a few individual players here. Butler, it was nice to see him bob up, mostly in the first half of mine, where I took note. But yeah, great to see him get a couple of goals. He's looking confident. Got a really nice kick when he's got a little bit of space, and he's kicked a nice long goal there, and it was great to see the players get around him again.
But again, the difference in the quality of the opponent. When Liam Baker stands next to Sam Butler, it's going to be a difficult day. Sam Butler making Dane Zorko accountable for a while, who's not a good one-on-one player in the air, on the ground, or a defensive stopper. You're going to get loose. I think he was not ignored, but he got to the right spots consistently. And sure, as a young player, it's not always going to work for you. But he was crafty around the goals. And if his last kick went a metre to the right, he's kicked 3. And, he's a star. David King's a big fan. And I know that we can sort of hang it on Kingy a little bit. But, yeah, it was fantastic from Sammy Butler there.
Yeah, 100%. Geez, they just keep flowing. Good conversation, fans.
Well, how do you drop it? What? How? He can't. The Alfred.
Well, look, you just said Shields as well. You know, if there's a role to play and he's playing it very well, and when he goes down at Box Hill, it's like, yeah, it's hard. I'm going to throw to Sicily, especially in the first part when I saw it. Hipwood, like, had his number.
Yeah.
In the air, Hipwood didn't know whether he's Arthur or Martha.
He brought the sponges out, sis. Because he gave Hipwood an absolute bath. And yes, it is his second game back.
Towel for him.
That's it.
Guy. He gave him a towel. He's not white line fever, but here's a towel as well.
He's a good man like that, sis. But Hipwood, second game back from a knee, but I actually thought he moved pretty well. It's just, both boys coming off an ACL, and you're probably looking at the joy I think we had and the smartness in giving Sis those 5 games off at the end of last year when he was right to go. And we went, no, get the preseason in you. That knee is going to be 110%. 100% is not good enough because at 100%, the ACL went. At 110%, you're going to be fine. And if James Sicily's not currently in everyone's All-Australian team right now, well, thank God you don't get a vote because not only is he there, slide him into that back pocket magnificently.
Yeah. Look, I'm searching right back here. There was a good comment here. A bit of concern for Maxi Lynch, and I think we might have some mail here from Fred for you, Darren. Oh, hold on. There we go.
Butler's
retaining his position, and look, we've got.
We're moving Frosty, and considering you'd think Sicily would be able to contain Casbolt reasonably well, I don't know how Denver would go on Marby or Chol. Not that we want to move towards the Gold Coast game that quickly, but Frosty in the ruck. Does it happen? We probably bring Callow in, and I'm being silly. I know that, Hawks fans, before you comment telling me I'm silly, but someone's got to come in. You'd think Callow would be the number 1 ruck, and then because Cozzy at centre half forward. I know he only had 7 touches, but 6 tackles, and 4 of them led to Hawthorn with the next possession. So he's either knocking the ball out and we're picking it up, or he's causing ball ups. 6 hit outs as well, but I think we're taking too much away from Cozzy at centre half forward if he's the number 1 ruck. That's just my opinion.
Well, on Max's game though, look, I'm finding Max a little bit frustrating to watch. Sometimes he gets the front spot and he's got a good read and he holds his own. Sometimes he's getting out of position. And I'm like, monkey, put down the snakes, big fella. Just get to work. When he comes back in, I don't know. He was obviously giving up a lot of inches, which is hard as well.
What was weird for me is that he seemed to do better against McInerney than he did Fort, and McInerney's the better ruckman. So I found that really strange. Like Fort's tap work, especially in that second quarter, was kind of to our detriment at times, and even late in the game. So, Tim there, Nash, Cozzy ruck. That is interesting. Cozzy will be cameo ruck. Yeah, he's the second ruck, Clint. I completely agree with you. The boy will jump at anything, which is what we want to see. But, Fort did threaten in that second quarter to kind of take the game over in the ruck. But as soon as McInerney came into the contest, I thought Lynch looked right at home. So I think that's just proving to me 50-year-old monkey in the ruck. That'd be handy. But I think what that proved to me is that Lynch really is the number 2 ruck. And I think the loss of Reeves has just probably gone under the radar in the eyes of everyone but Hawthorn fans. So fingers crossed Reeves is back. And apparently he's an outside chance, Matty.
Yes, possibly. Sammy's alluded to that, so we will see. One thing I will call out before we move on from Maxi, first quarter it was all smalls hitting the goals for the Hawks, and Max very clean below the knees, which I do like. His attack around the ball is good, but I will call out Cozzy because I think he's got 6 tackles for the game. He's
I thought you were calling him out for something bad then. I was like, oh boy. No, you're all good. I just misunderstood.
No, paying respect. So just gallant effort. I don't know how many you got 6 hit outs. I don't know how many you went up for, but
29, I think it was, looking back today. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So took some decisions to make, and there was a good call. Whoever it was just talked about it being a little bit wet, potentially up in.
The ruck impact. I'd agree with you. I would 100% agree with this is going to be a bit of a hot take here. So Hawks fans, let me know if you think I'm silly. If we were going up against anyone but the current All-Australian ruckman in Jared Witts, yes, I have him ahead of Gawn this year. I would agree with you. I think it was Fabio who sent that through. I would 100% agree with you. With Jared Witts in the form that he is, it is a worry. It definitely is a worry, even though you look at Gold Coast did match it with the Bulldogs midfield for a lot, and they beat Freo in the wet, so they're a good contested team. I think it is a worry. Personally, I think it is a worry, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. One of those blokes you've been wanting to talk about
I'm stunned we've talked about anything else for the last 20 minutes, Matty.
If you're a Hawk fan, surely you're talking to AFL fans about this kid because he's just an absolute freak. And where does he come from? Look, it is amazing. Titch as well. The two of them, it really is hard for this round. Who was the better player for mine? But look,
I'll tell you right now, Matty. Jai. There you go. Problem solved. I will when we get to him, because we do need to talk about the Duke, I will talk up Tom Mitchell's game till the cows come home. I honestly reckon, off the top of my head, top 3 games since his Brownlow year for the Hawks. If anyone thinks anyone but Jai was best on ground, please go watch the game again. So
look,
another heads up for you. I'm telling you how to run your top 5 now, Matty. I probably shouldn't do that.
They're playing their roles beautifully, and there's a difference in their roles that they're playing. So look, to find some really nice compliments. Titch's speed to get that ball out, just amazing at the moment, as it has been for a long time. But look, I just love Jai's strength through his hips, because when he's going to draw somebody and he's happy to take the tackle, and he's still disposing of it very well a lot of the time. That they struggle to actually put him off and make him just sling the ball anywhere if he's getting it off with hands. So, mate, credit to the young kid just to come through again. And look, his stats just slowly keep eking up. I know we had Gilmore at 19-1. We're going to have to come up with something for the Duke.
Old Dill went 19-2, but the Duke, it's amazing to me. Oh, go on, Matty. Yeah, you go.
I think the Duke, something rhyming with 32 and something goes well for mine. So anyway, go on.
It's amazing to me because the Duke does what I think Gold Coast wish Matt Rao does. And what he does is he drives out of contests with his legs so he doesn't fall over. And when he takes a tackle better than most midfielders in the competition, and you look at the upper echelon of midfielders, you look at Cripps, you look at Oliver, these guys now, they're obviously ahead of Duke in terms of his development, but what all 3 of them have in common is they'll attack the ball at a stoppage. This is where the 6-6-6 rule is good. There's a few rules that in the AFL that need to be fixed, but the 6-6-6 is awesome for Duke because he stands up, he'll gather the footy, he'll have a look, he'll take the tackle, and he doesn't panic, and he's able to drive out of contests with his legs, move forward. He had less than 30 disposals and 670 metres gained. I mean, what more can you ask for? And then, there you go, 12 score involvements. And how about his goal? That was off a step from 48.
Someone's shouted that out here as well. Just one step, if you don't mind. Why not? There wasn't a lot of space. He didn't have really 2 or 3 steps, so he's just, the Duke leg, trust it.
And it's not like, exactly. And it's not like there was a competition on the goal line and it missed the fingers by 2 inches. He hit the fence.
Yep.
Bugger off,
solid. It's solid. Look, you all know we sponsor Jai, Denver, and CJ. It's nice to see CJ's speed and attack again on the field. So all 3 boys did quite well this week. So, look, we've got our little player sponsor syndicate. If you'd like to be part of that, it can start at $50. We've got an upcoming lawn bowls with the players. So if that's something that might interest you, check out talkinghooks.com. I'll chuck the player sponsor link in as we speak. It's
beautiful. So while you're doing that, Matty, so fellow Talking Hawks alumni Jake Smith and I, the great man Smithy. So we've got this kind of not an inside joke, but we've got this thing where we look for the best field kick because we've got goal of the year, we've got mark of the year, we've got the golden fist after Danny Frawley, we've got the Brownlow medal, we've got all these things to celebrate. But the fine art of elite field kicking is something that I think can go under the radar. And we've looked at guys like Andrew McLeod in the past, even Caleb Daniel now, although he had a shocker in Tassie. But the nomination of CJ to Wingard in that first quarter, where CJ took off, was at full pace and was able to switch that drop punt on a 45-degree angle to hit CJ, is well and truly a nomination for one of the best field kicks we've seen by Hawk, and that's including guys like Suckling and Mitchell and Hodge. So get aboard the Duke train. Could not be more right there. So shout out CJ. Probably didn't have the game on the stat sheet that maybe people would have expected. I didn't see anything wrong with his performance, and he'll be better for the run.
Yep. Mac Hawk joined us. I think he's from Spain. Mac's part of our syndicate. He's been on board watching the Denver journey. So good to have you on board, mate. All right. I think here you go. Tony likes your thoughts there if you're shooting for it with you and Smitty.
I like it.
There you go. There's the new. You got to get that word talisman in your next article. You got 2 articles to do it. Daz, there you go. There's your challenge.
Done.
The writing challenge.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Comments on the umpiring. Yeah, it goes both ways. Let's go to. I've missed Mitchell. Trying to bring up a comment here. I'm just going to throw it open. So hold on. Yeah, let's go. Tommy Mitchell. We've just done Duke. What are you saying, Daz? Tell me why he is not taking out the top spot, but has certainly done himself proud.
Yeah, he absolutely has. So he attended less than 50% of centre bounces and didn't have a centre clearance. Now, that is a little bit of a concern for me, but he did have 9 clearances around the ground, which is where he thrives. The more shallow a ruck tap is, the better it is for Titch to get to the footy, which is why he's better around the stoppage. So we'll put that out there now. But for him to have 11 kicks and over 300 metres gained is a massive tick. He is a better set shot for goal than I think he gets credit for. That was a beautiful hit from 48 as well, but he didn't try to do too much with the footy, which is all that we've asked him to do. I think throughout, he doesn't need to be, to use an NBA term, he doesn't need to be a playmaker. He doesn't need to act like the point guard of that midfield. I love that quote about Jars in the 90s, but back onto Titch, he did everything right. And yes, there were times where he needed to slam the ball on the boot, and he did so, which is absolutely fine. But if Jai isn't, the god of Tassie right now, then Titch would have been second best on ground by a long way. He made all the right decisions. Was his execution perfect? Absolutely not. But you can say that about every player. So I'm not bothered by that, but he was outstanding. Yep.
Here we go. It's a bit slow loading for me, but good to have you, John. Who do we have? Paul, good call. Bramble, I think he was tidy. I'm not raving about Bramble's game this week.
Did some good work on Zachy Bailey, who kicked 6. Don't remember, against the Suns, and it almost seemed to me like one of their forwards was going to have a day out. I mean, they had a good spread of goal kickers on the weekend, which worked well for us. But you look at guys on that team that played that could kick 6. You could probably take Hipwood out of that equation because of his injury, and you thought Charlie Cameron or Zach Bailey. So I think Bramble gets a bit of credit for that. He can get himself a bit lost in the contest, but he is a rebounding defender. I'd love to see him up on a wing, but I didn't see anything wrong with his performance. Thought he was good.
Oh, and maybe he was playing a bit more defensive for mine. I just didn't quite notice him as much. He's normally, for mine, a bit more eye-catching. But if there's a bit of a shuffle with who's going to be bringing that run and whatnot, look, Jai got his hands on plenty of it and was giving us some run. So, look, there was others as well. So, happy, he holds his spot for mine, no problem. But I won't get into the preview. So, it'll be interesting up at TIO. But who else have we got? Absolutely. He is a gun. Very happy we've got.
Yep, couldn't agree more. There is a player we haven't talked about yet. I agree on Hardwick. His work on Charlie Cameron early was spectacular.
Sensational.
Have we? So, Buddy was criticised early at the Hawks for his set shot goal kicking. Ruff went through a period in 2009, 10, 11 where he was leaning back and missing everything to the left. Is Mitch Lewis putting himself into the conversation of the best set shot goal kicker, the best technique, the best power, the best strike? Now, he's not getting the chances of a Buddy or a Ruff during that period. So, Hawks fans, before you comment that, I understand that. But for pure technique, he's kicking 3 goals a game. that hit from 55 and going back and having a look at the way he kicks the footy
That was
is so pure and so good. And I thought he did his job and more. Kicked for was spectacular. Let's give him some due credit. But geez, that's a good set shot routine he's got.
Yeah, it's looking very solid, and that was a big moment in the game. And yeah, to come through like that, I think he's starting to enjoy his footy. I think he's really relaxed in himself and in what he can do, and he's just going about it. And I don't see in years gone by a little bit of the stress. I reckon the looks in his eyes or the whatever. I just, it's nice to see him comfortable. So yes, agree. And that's when you talked about someone kicking 3 goals straight away, who came to mind for me. But yeah, lovely to see him doing, that. And it was Dan in our Talking Hawks group highlighted he's averaging 3.1, which I think was second most goals per game.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, look, at the start of the year, if you're looking at how you continue to build out this team, you do want a big hulking forward, and he's done the hulking part in the off season, and then he's giving us some good performances. So happy with the way he's coming along nicely. There we go. Cody's calling him out there.
There you go. I like it.
And yes,
look, we love Tim Boyle. Yeah, Tim Boyle. He was put him within 40, and I reckon Tim Boyle could have kicked the footy through an eye of a needle. It's put him a bit further out, and Timmy, I think, could spray it a little bit. But yeah, I like the comparison. But Boyle and Gunston are the third talls. Yeah, he kept it like an athletic running track, as Jason Dunstall used to call it. So he'd keep it very straight, which is good. Lewis has got that powerful hook that a lot of players have now on that sort of last step, but his technique is still extremely solid. So if you're a young Hawk out there that likes their goal kicking, try and get as much Mitch Lewis tape as you can, because he keeps everything very straight, no matter how far out he is, and he kicks through the footy, whether he's 20 or 40 out. Something that a few players in the AFL could learn from, especially Hawks as well, because we've missed some pretty bad ones in front of goal, but we kicked 11 straight from set shots this week, so can't complain.
Yes. Question was, I don't know that I saw anything official today. Was Impey got that hit in the middle? Was he concussed?
No.
No.
Max Lynch was the only one who went through a concussion test today. Unfortunately, failed it. So I didn't hear anything about Will Day's injury either, but we'll keep Hawks fans up to date as soon as we know something.
Yeah.
Boy, how's that for a call?
Huntsman.
I hope you mean with the set shot goal kicking, because with Dunstall, because
I'm leaving that alone.
Yeah. Hey, Louis, we know you kicked 8 in a scratch match, but you've got about 1,100 goals to go before you hit Chiefs 1254. So no pressure, son.
I don't care about it kicking 1,000, as long as he kicks 17 against Richmond. I'm fine with that. One thing I did love in this game was I saw some good smother, a lot of gang, tackles, and a lot of combined pressure. So not just, sometimes it's been the spacing and they're sort of almost guarding areas, but they were really going for the man. And when they got it, they took off. But seeing that many smothers as well, Jager was called out for a few, really good crunching tackles as well. I loved his burst. He didn't get a tackle, but I just saw him at top speed chasing someone. I was like, Jager's, mate, he's really giving us a lot.
Jager had 5 tackles. Is that who you were saying? Didn't have a tackle, or am I just
no? I'm saying there was some crunching tackles that he did.
Okay. My apologies. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Daz needs to go to bed after this. Clearly. Oh boy.
Questions here around Day.
It's the 5th time he's been subbed out in 23 games. Matty?
I don't like that stat.
No, I'm not a massive fan of it either, to be honest with you, and I'm sorry I've brought it up.
Yeah. Look, it's they know him. He knows his body. He goes in hard. It's ankles, different things do happen, but is there a consistency to what he's doing, how he's injuring himself, the way they're preparing him? Lots of things to look at. So,
and he's not. But the concerning part, and I have absolutely no medical background at all. So, but is it a concern that he's not putting a lot of weight on that ankle to injure it in the first place. So it can't be a case of, well, if we can get him a bit slimmer, it'll relieve the pressure. He looks 60 kilos dripping wet, which is, a big concern and something I'm extremely jealous of. But that's not why we're having this discussion. So, yeah, I agree with you. It is a little bit of a mystery, a little bit like Hutto's knee at some point, although, is there a disparity between those two gentlemen? But it's one of those things that'll either dog him forever or we'll get it right. And I think we need to ask ourselves, how long do we give it? I think the answer is still, a couple of seasons. I'm not saying he's in trouble of losing his list spot or anything, but the concern is high, and I think rightly so.
I've got a reconstructed ankle, and when you do roll it repetitively, the ligaments, just the way they stretch and your ability to roll it gets a lot easier. So I know they do strap them and all of that. So I'm sure every precaution is taken. But, it's just, here we go. If that was...
sliding into the fan. Oh, that's... yeah, okay. An incident injury like that, you kind of go, all right, thank God. It's not a repetitive injury, sorry. So in a weird kind of way, Will, if you're going to do your ankle that way. It sounds horrific, I know. How's that for a soundbite? But it's a lot better than doing it the same old way, because we've seen what that's done to players in the past.
Yeah, so look, if that's the case, brilliant. It's in terms of that's because he's got a big heart and he's putting everything into it. So, all right, let's keep rolling. I think Nashi deserves a mention. I think he's in the clinches. His strength, his reach, his length. What was that?
His frame is so important around the stoppages. Like, he attended more centre bounces than anyone for us. Had 7 clearances. I would argue maybe Ryan Schoenmakers, maybe, but those two would be, since I've really started watching the Hawks, and I don't want to make anyone feel old here, but that's only been since 2005, so don't come at me for any of those reasons, but that's the first time I can really say I started watching Hawthorn games with an emotional investment. But I would say him and Ryan Schoenmakers are the two that have flipped Hawthorn fans' opinions on them in such a quick period of time. You think back to 2015 with Shoei and the way it turned around in the last sort of 6 weeks of that season. I think 80% of Hawks fans were ready for Nashi's next step. Mitch saw it, threw him into the middle, and I think he had 17 and 7 clearances later. He was one of the best on the ground. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. If we're jumping on some bandwagons, if you're not on the Nash train already, you're missing out. Jump on.
Yeah, I can see why he attended a lot, because he's just such a good complement in that mix. He locks it in. If there's a contest and they've got possession, right, it's just so hard. So often it's, ball up, it's all right, let's go. So it's better than getting a quick one out, and that's his strength and his length for mine a lot of the time. So Morrison, H-Mo has been called out a little bit. Daz, how did you see his game?
First quarter and a half, I'm going to use what I said to you about your top 5. I just wanted to shake him, because where you set up at stoppages, the one thing your winger cannot do is go to the contest and not impact the contest. And he did it once. Jared Berry was out the back and they scored. And you think to yourself, all right, once is fine, twice is concerning, and 3 times is a pattern. Of Brisbane's first 7 scores, Jared Berry had 4 score involvements, and that wasn't a fluke. He fixed it after that. Berry only had 2 more score involvements for the last 2.5 quarters. So Harry did improve as the game went on. That was a really classy goal on his left foot. Do we give him a pass? We hope he learns from it, but I don't think I can argue against fans that are happy with the fact that he learnt from it, or fans that are frustrated in the first place. So that kind of sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but I probably am.
Yeah. Look, he's had better games this year, but I think
But hey, if that's the worst that he does, the fact that he can fix something, not great that quickly, yeah, go for it, Harry. Love that.
Yeah. Look, I'm just quickly scanning. Yeah. We've covered almost every player. Cam, good to have you. And yes, we did touch on, I guess, that Frosty move. And I think structure-wise, it was a smart move. I won't go over it again, Cam, but I think him knowing the structure, being a matchup issue with who the defenders, the Lions had as defenders, was good. And obviously they've mixed it up a little bit. So it gives us opportunity to keep trialing things, whether we keep seeing a Frost. I think it will depend on the defenders that we're looking at down the other end, and who one we have to man up on first and foremost, because I'd see Frosty as our defensive first and foremost.
And I think, just to add on to that, I think Mitch Lewis's improvement in his contested marking is saving us a lot from Gunston being out, because he draws a defender away every time he's on a lead. So it's probably a credit to Mitch Lewis and the way that he goes about it, that maybe the loss of gunners this year compared to last year might not be as high. Like, who would have thought, 2020 or 2021, we'd kick 117 points without gunners on the field? It would probably sound impossible. So it is both a credit and maybe a detriment to the forward line, but we've kicked 117 points without him. So on the day it worked, and, every day that Mitch Lewis and Cozzy are creating a contest, we might feel it less and less, but he's still a part of the best 22 and an absolute superstar. Don't take that away.
Structure-wise, Gunner's role, maybe it's changed a tad this year, but he's often good at linking up, but he's so good as a crummer too, and just doubling back. And he's just like, his smarts and his chemistry, say with Brewsty, it's astounding. So I don't know that you're going to quite get some of that total package out of any one player, but I think you're going to get the run when he presses up towards the wing and can be that link-up player. You're going to get that from some other people, Cam. But look, it'll be good to see what they try.
And we might not see it a lot against Gold Coast, because in the wet, I'm not saying Jack's a bad wet weather player, but in the wet, you kind of just take it as it comes and focus from there. But I think we'll see it in the Freo game that comes, because he would have taken away a Griffin Logue or a Brennan Cox away from the contest, while Alex Pearce was probably dealing with Mitch Lewis. But that's probably a conversation to have a fortnight away. So we'll see it. So I think we're going to see it more in the coming weeks than we did, I was going to say today, but yesterday.
All right, Hardigan's just being touched on here, and it's.
How long was he on the field for? I know he didn't touch it, but he didn't need to.
27% of the time. So
a quarter.
I think he had two. Chris was telling me
2 pressure acts.
He might have had 2 contested.
Possessions, and just didn't dispose of the
not contested possessions. That he's gone and pressured. I can't remember what the
couple of pressure acts. So what I said first. Come on, Matty.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
So
silly out of you.
Anyway.
Didn't need to. Yeah.
Hearts. Anyway, we'll move on. So let's quickly throw to the BFLW. Daz, I didn't get too much of a chance, but another strong win and 20 scoring shots to 2.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Bad day for a defender. Wasn't down there, but no, we were fantastic. And I think I hope Hawks fans, I hope we're not just for those that are interested in women's footy, I really hope we're not just waiting for the AFLW to start to jump on board, because it's a 3-team competition at the moment. It's Darebin, who we ended up beating, but it's us and Essendon for the VFLW. It just is. Unless something, Geelong 08 style happens, it's going to be those 2 at the end. And we had a draw 2 weeks ago. So this competition is tightly packed, and I think getting around us as quickly as we can before we come in and dominate the AFLW is going to be fantastic. Jesse Williams kicked 3-2, had 11 disposals. There's a name here, if you can tell that I'm looking down, that I don't want to mispronounce, so that's why I'm looking down here. But Grace McRae, I think she's the niece of Craig. Someone can correct me in the comments, but I think that's right. She had 19 touches, kicked a goal, and Jordan Mifsud, that's the one that I wanted to say, and I've probably butchered that even though I've read it. She had 18 touches, a goal, and a game high 9 tackles. So they're going beautifully. Nice. And for the AFLW team, we've had a few signings, Tegan Cunningham, Sarah Perkins and the like. But the St. Kilda midfielder, Lily Todd, I think is her last name, or Lucas Todd, perhaps. I've butchered that. The note isn't loading for me for some reason, but she came in the top 10 in the AFLW version of the Brownlow. So we chased Emily Bates, couldn't quite get her, but we've replaced her with a gun in the midfield. So for all those that are interested in women's footy, keep yourself updated with the VFLW. It's going to be fantastic. And we're coming into the AFLW competition under Beck Goddard as one of the better teams in the competition. So, we've gotten on board a few trains tonight, absolutely, with the girls, because we're going to come in and shake things up, especially with Adelaide's super team being broken up with Aaron Phillips going to Port. So jump on board. We need to beat
Yeah.
Sydney for members too, by the way. Can you, sorry to rant here, but you know Sydney have got the most AFLW members, haven't played a game yet. Well, that's astounding, and we need to beat that target because number one, we like beating Sydney, but we need to beat that. So go the Hawks, girls.
The gauntlet has been thrown right there. Hawks fans,
Absolutely.
Get behind the AFLW team as we emerge and begin what's an exciting campaign and building on the Hawthorn Football Club legacy. So, all right, Daz, you're going to give us a write-up, but Brooks loving this, doesn't want us to finish. He's got that feeling. I do enjoy winning a big against a high team, but top 5, Daz, I think we'll just look to wrap it up. We're going to...
Yeah.
I'll have one.
Thanks, Scotty. I think Scotty's talking about mine, but yeah, I don't like this light, but I don't think I can cover it up. But yeah, cheers, Scotty. I hope that wasn't sarcastic.
Someone said, "Where's my blue mic?" So I might have to.
I'll send you the link, mate. Like they're on special at JB Hi-Fi under $100. Work beautifully.
There we go. Look, who is getting to the game this week? It's exciting. I think Cam's up Queensland way. So yeah, if you can get across, please do. Say good day to Cyril if he gets there. And all right, top 5, Daz.
Yeah, you're under pressure here. You're trying to fit 8 into 5, which is a scary prospect. So
that happens most weeks.
But especially during a win, you've always got to disappoint someone. So
yeah,
good
all
luck.
right. So
I'm glad it's you and not me.
I've got Sicily coming in at my 5th.
Oh boy!
And look, I'll start throwing the tomatoes now. I just expect, a good game out of him, and he has done it with aplomb as captain, and I'm absolutely elated. But I have got Chad just sneaking in ahead of him for my 4th best because Chad, albeit. We would love to see more. Yeah, I think you coined it very well earlier when you said it's about quality, not quantity. And I think he bobbed up early. He gave us a good energy. I think he's controlling himself more on the ground. There's just a few little things that he does that just, makes a difference. Here we go. I've got others that are throwing up some thoughts. So we'll
Butler one. I like that. Is that Smithy's burner account? That might be Smithy's burner account. He loves Sammy Butler.
I've got Lewis as getting 3, kicking a big goal. And kicking 4. It's unlucky. I'll mention them now. Frosty and Nash, I was also looking at. It's like there was others that had a good game. We've got.
I get the feeling I'm going to have to shake you.
No, we've got Titch at number 2. I've got on board, Scotty. It was. I was honestly splitting hairs though. My bar has gone up for Jai now. Titch had an astounding game, I thought, and that's why I was really struggling between the two of them, playing his role to a T. They're both playing their roles beautifully, I think, and just that knowledge is starting to come. But when you get a player like Jai that impacts in such a visible way, not just the headband, there's a contest. He just hunts it. Look, Titch was absolutely hunting as well. And so for mine, what Titch does to get the ball out and give us advantages, move the ball quickly, it's astounding. What Jai does as well is astounding for different reasons. But, chalking up in his role, he should kick more, get more meters gained. And, looking at the whole game on balance, I've just given it to Jai. And I try not to be biased because we sponsor him, but it's hard to not. But I think
it's the correct decision. But one question, it's why do you hate taggers, Matty? Liam Shields didn't even get in your honourable mentions. So by my calculation, he's 8th. You're better than that. You're better than you. Yeah.
I'll take it on the chin. And I think he's definitely getting more games in the seniors this year. I've actually been surprised that he's been dropped on occasion. And again, the tomatoes might start, but there you go, mate. Daz, you are going to have your player review. So it's always a good read. Hawks fans, check it out on socials and talkinghawks.com.
Mm-hmm. And Chris will be here for Thursday, we're thinking, Chris and I, hopefully. So Maddie's going to spend Thursday moving house very soon, Maddie. So I implore you to just spend a bit of extra time in the bathroom and have a look in that mirror and have a good hard look at yourself for Liam Shields' omission. Because that's,
Right.
And this, I know it's astounding that this is where we're at, but the tag is back. We called Lockie Neal and we're a very happy team at Hawthorn, which we love.
No, we love the honest conversations. Happy to take the challenges. Thank you, Daz. But Hawks fans, I think that was Wayne. You've ended well there for us. So thanks again. Are we Thursday? Is it Thursday, Daz?
Yeah, I think Thursday. Yeah, no Thursday footy. I don't think. I could be wrong. The floating fixture might screw me over, but I think Friday's the correct. Friday, Sydney, Richmond. So Thursday, we're on.
We will not compete with the footy. So Here we go. I'm going to end it on this one just for you, Daz. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Hawks fans. We will catch you next time.
Hey, Hawks.